Hello, thanks, Naz. A question from Barry Stein of CARE. With the partner vetting system and the amount of information that's being required to be provided to the US government, is this contravening European data protection laws?
I am so glad you asked that question. The short answer to that, and I really like it when I can say something extremely clear, is yes. So it seems pretty clear that EU data protection in particular prohibits the provision of personal information required by USAID and the State Department in the way it is currently required, being provided in the way it is currently being provided. So currently, both USAID and state have a online portal through which this is supposed to be provided, and you are being asked to provide, I think, what most of us would consider to be pretty personal information: passport number, national ID number, name, in the case of Afghanistan and Palestine, name of father, name of grandfather, home address, email address, mobile phone number. It's a pretty it's information that I think most people would see as being quite that they have a privacy interest in it. And certainly the EU thinks you have a privacy interest in it. So we have a paper on our website at the bottom there for those of you that are interested in this, where a number of lawyers who are experts in the EU data protection and privacy laws looked closely at PVS and RAM, which is the equivalent State Department program, and their conclusion is it's a conflict. And their conclusion is that organizations based in Europe or subject to European data protection would be facing a very serious legal question should they comply with the U.S. legal requirements. And as of yet, to our knowledge, the United States government has not created any kind of exception or effort to assist organizations who are subject to EU data protection. And I should say here, as much as I said that the U.S. counterterrorism law appears to be very much the kind of globalizing model for other states, EU data protection law is the model for data protection around the world. It is very much the approach that appears to be being adopted by the global south and by other countries outside of the European framework. So this, I think, this tension is not just serious, it's going to become more serious. And it's a real question for humanitarian organizations whether they press on this or not, whether they insist that they simply cannot comply with this requirement because of their EU data protection obligations. It's yet to be seen. I think the U.S. government's view is that the tension is absolutely not as clear or as important as I've just suggested, and that indeed European organizations can and should comply with the requirement. And of course, the other position of the U.S. government is you don't have to take U.S. government money. If you think there's a legal conflict, then don't take our funding.